When the National Resistance Movement rebel group led by Yoweri Museveni captured state power in 1986, it took the group 10 years to legitimize its hold on power through an election.
I think this is a fundamental change in the politics of our country.
It was only in 1996 that they organized the first election and a new constitution promulgated a year before. However, the 1996 election was the second since independence, the other having been the disputed 1980 election, which had Apollo Milton Obote bouncing back to the presidency as Museveni resorted to guerrilla war. The 2026 elections will be the 7th under the 40-year rule by NRM and the 8th since the attainment of independence in 1962. Each of the election cycles has had a steady increase in the number of declared registered voters. Those registered as of 2021 were 18.1 million. This number is anticipated to jump to 22 million voters following the concluded registration exercise, whose outcome the Electoral Commission is yet to declare. The 1996 elections, organized by the Independent Electoral Commission, chaired by Stephen Akabwai, saw 8.4 million registered voters participate. This number increased to 10.7 million in 2021. However, the figure was revised downwards in the next election, conducted in 2006, with only 10.1 million registered voters taking part. Some 600,000 previously assumed to be registered voters were wiped out by the cleanup. Ahead of the 2011 elections, the number of registered voters shot up to 13.9 million and then increased to 15.2 million in 2016, reaching 18.1 million in 2021. It is projected that the number may increase to 22 million registered voters who will head to the polls in 2026. Despite the steady increase in the number of voters, the trend shows that a significant number of those registered shied away from the polls, and the situation continues to worsen. The data from the past January election shows that the 1996 elections were the last time a significant number turned out to vote. Out of the eligible 8.4 million voters who should have participated in the 1996 elections, 6.1 million voters participated, representing 72.9%. In 2001, the electorate went for the second January election conducted under the movement system of governance. The electorate was still enthusiastic about the elections, as shown by the 7.5 million voters who turned out on the polling day, representing 70.3% of the 10.7 million registered voters. The voter dropout continued during the 2006 election, which should have attracted a great level of enthusiasm, given that it was the first election conducted under the multi-party system. The change followed a referendum in which the electorate voted to amend the constitution to restore political parties. Uganda started with political parties at independence, among them the Uganda People's Congress, which entered into an alliance with the Kabaka Yeka party to form the first government, dislodging the Democratic Party, which had hitherto formed the government. The DP won a majority of 43 seats in the March 1961 elections, which had been boycotted by the Buganda Kingdom. Although a cleanup of the voters' register resulted in a drop in the number of eligible voters in 2006 compared to those of 2001, the voter turnout was equally low. Out of the 10.4 million voters expected to show up for the 2006 polls, 7.2 turned out, representing 69.2%. A record low turnout was registered in the 2011 elections. Of the increased 13.9 million registered voters, 8.2 million, equivalent to 59.3%, showed up on the polling day. This translates into over 5.7 million voters who never bothered to vote, a number that is higher than the 5.4 million votes President Museveni garnered to be declared the winner. There was a recovery in the voter turnout during the 2016 elections at 10.3 million participated in the exercise, representing 67.6% out of the 15.2 million eligible voters. However, 4.9 million voters never showed up to vote. Despite the slight improvement registered in 2016, the numbers once again plunged to 59% after 7.3 million voters stayed away from the polls. While the number of registered voters was 18.1 million, 10.7 million voted. Political commentators are skeptical that there will be a change in the voter turnout in the forthcoming January elections.
After the 2011 elections, the Ugandan Law Society convened their gathering, and they asked how many people had gone out to vote. I think it was about a week or 2 weeks later after the election, and less than 5% had actually voted. We're talking about the land fellows.
After trying an election 6 times, fatigue settles in. You get fatigued. You start to predict the outcome before you go into the process. If you know the man who is counting, who's doing the final counting, was a prosecutor for this man, and this man gave him a position, and somebody can wake up one day within this election and drop Yabakama as the EC, no matter the amount of energy that opposition people bring onto the table, you see the outcome predetermined.
There are signs that the electorate is unenthusiastic about the elections, as indicated by the number of those showing up at the political rallies organized by the presidential candidates.
Voter turnout is actually falling globally. It's not only unique to Uganda. People across the world are getting disillusioned with electoral processes.
The voter apathy is blamed on the level of violence experienced sometimes in the elections, concerns that the results of the polls are premeditated, and poverty among the citizenry.
When you see the way the odds are designed, and you've tried it 6 times before, no matter the amount of energy that opposition people bring onto the table, you see the outcome predetermined.
When people lose confidence in the outcome of the elections, after getting so much discouraged in regard to past elections, people would think that why do I waste time? After all, he's going to win over.
Most people are poor. They are looking for survival. So instead of engaging in an election where you go line up a full day, it's better you go on your business and be able to earn an income for your children.
Sometimes you know that you have your candidate, let's say you have President Museveni, and you see, of course, he's doing well, and you think that whether you vote or not, he's already winning, and because of love, you stay behind.
It is anticipated that the voter turnout could certainly register a slight improvement if the campaigns remain violence-free. Jackson Onyango, NTV.